Hi, and welcome back to my channel here at Oso Victoria, where it's kind of like a vlog because it's just my journey in reselling. And what I'm doing now is what sold for the last 2 weeks of March. Um, so I sold, got it here somewhere. I sold 27 items. Let me put up my gross. $823.50 gross, $599.55 net, $168.81 in fees, and $54.59 in cost of goods. And then at the end, I will put up what sold in each shop and how much I made in each shop. But let me get started with what sold. I'm selling on Etsy, Poshmark, and eBay. I actually have 4 shops on Etsy, but mostly I just sell in my vintage and my collectible shops. So let me, like I said, get started. So on the 16th, starting with the 16th in Poshmark, I sold this Ralph Lauren one-piece swimsuit. It was an 18 women's. I sold it for $36 and I picked it up at a thrift store in Eureka, California. My husband plays cribbage, and so we take these weekend trips sometimes. And of course, I don't play cribbage, but when he's playing, I get the car and I go around to all these thrift stores to see what I could find. So I found this there at that thrift store. I don't know what it was called, Mission something maybe. I paid $5.99 for it. And there were some other things I had bought that I've already sold from that particular thrift store too. So I bought it in February of last year and I listed it in March of this year. I listed it on the 15th, so it took one day to sell, which is pretty good. And I did stitch up a little bit on the inside lining. It had a rip and I stitched it up. I like to mend my clothing if at all possible. It's just what I like to do. Um, anyway, next sale. Next sale was on the 17th and it was in my Oso Victoria vintage shop and it was this David Brooks two-piece paisley dress and it was from the 80s and it had that little collar thing that you could wear with or without. I sold it for $54. I had it listed for quite a while. Okay, I had it listed forever. And I picked it up at the Cancer Society in Medford in the town just north of me and I paid $2 for it. And I listed it and I picked it up in January 19th of 2012. And then over on Poshmark on the 17th, I sold this Fredericks of Hollywood corset, black corset. So maybe that was the last corset. I had quite a few corsets. Sold it for $15. It was given to me by my son. He gave me a bunch of clothes in 2019, and I listed it February 24th of this year. And then also on Poshmark, I listed these fantasies by Morgan Taylor, this blue-green chemise. It was really cute. I sold it for $16. It was also given to me with a bunch of stuff by my son. And let me see, that was in November of 2019, and I actually listed it March 4th of this year. And then over on the 19th in my Etsy Oso Victoria shop, I sold this white cotton full slip by Artemis vintage slip for $34. Paid $3 for that at Home Goods Thrift Store in Grants Pass and picked it up in May 23rd of 2013. And I actually listed it on February 24th of this year. So I think what I did, I went into my studio where I have all my inventory of all my vintage stuff I've been collecting for years and years and years. And I do have a video of my studio tour. And so I think I went into my studio and I just started pulling out some random things like some of the lingerie to get some of that listed. I have tons of stuff to list whenever I get around to it. And then on the 20th, on my Oso Victoria Vintage Shop, I sold this Karen Kane two-piece outfit with the blue stripes. for $45. Cost me $1.23 at an estate sale in July. This went to United Kingdom. I listed it in January of last year. And then also on the 20th in my eBay store, this Kayu Rose handbag. I sold it for $15.99 on eBay. It cost me 89 cents. I picked it up at the Goodwill in Ashland. I probably got a senior discount on that. So I picked it up in May of last year, probably when the Goodwill reopened after the COVID thing. And I listed it in November of last year. And then on eBay, also, I sold this Candies white lace sneakers. They may have been vintage, but I really couldn't determine Candies vintage labeling. I have no idea. So anyway, I sold them for $18 and they cost me $1. And these I picked up at the Honey Hole thrift store in Prineville, which is my favorite kind of thrift store because they have sometimes prices. They have the boxes of clothes, boxes and boxes or bins of clothes in one corner you go through. And so I had to ask her what her prices were to get an idea if they pricing things high or low or whatever. And she said, whatever you could put in one of those little shopping basket things, those little plastic shopping bag baskets you pick up at the grocery store to hand carry around. So whatever you could fit in that, it's $5. Except for, and then I asked her the shoes, and the shoes were $1 a piece. So it's like, okay, cool. So I did pick up a basket full of stuff, and I've already sold some of that. So anyway, these shoes were $1. And that was in November of last year. I listed them March 12th of this year. And so what they took less than 10 days to sell and 9 days to sell. Okay, and then on the 21st on my Poshmark closet, I sold these London plaid jean shorts for $16, and these were given to me by my daughter. And so I got them April of last year, and I listed them April of last year. And so they've been sitting around, and now that it's getting to be summertime, I guess things are selling. And on the 20th, because I'm skipping a day here and going backwards, on Poshmark, I sold this Ralph Lauren blue gingham Oxford shirt for $45. And I remember picking it up because I paid up for it and I was thinking, that's such a nice quality shirt. Should I pick it up? I don't have something like this in my shop and it's really a nice quality shirt. And so anyway, I paid $8 for it and I got it at the Goodwill over in Brookings on the coast. And I picked it up in May of last year and I listed it December of last year. Anyway, it sold for $45. And keep getting these dings, these emails will ding occasionally. Anyway, ignore the dings. And then over at eBay on the 21st, I sold this Old Navy jeans, flare jeans for $12.99. I think I took an offer on those. And these were given to me by my daughter, so they didn't cost me anything. They were given to me last fall, November. They were given to me last fall, November. I listed them March 18th of this year, so they only took 3 days to sell, which is a good deal. Okay, and then on the is a good, which is a good time frame to sell items. And then on Poshmark, I sold this new with tag yellow ruffled top, skies are blue, for $23. And this came also from one of the thrift stores down in Eureka, California at Miranda's Rescue thrift store. So I picked it up in January of this year. So I picked this up at Miranda's Rescue in Eureka. So we took a trip. We're over at the coast in Brookings and decided to take a trip down. It's an hour and a half away down to Arcata and Eureka and check out the thrift stores down there. And Miranda's Rescue thrift store down in Eureka is one of my favorites to go to in Eureka. There's another place along the highway that's a really good thrift store to check out too, but I can't remember the name of it. But it's a nice thrift store. for collectibles, not for clothes, but for hard goods and collectibles and furniture and that sort of stuff. And so anyway, I paid $2 for this. Everything was half off that day. And I picked it up in January of this year and it sold, and I listed it February 27th and it sold on the 21st. Okay, so on the 22nd in Poshmark, I sold this Columbia green shorts for $9. These were given to me by my daughter, and she gave them to me last year in April, and I listed them last year in April. I think same with another listing there. Also on the 22nd in my Oso Victoria shop, I sold this Catalina vintage swimsuit for $123. I don't know where I got it because it's one of those things I've had for a very long time. And then finally got around to listing. Let me see, I listed it. I actually listed it in November of last year. Um, it's just kind of hard for me to part with some of these older vintage, hard to find items. But anyway, I finally listed it and it sold for 123 and it went to Germany. So the shipping on that was $23.28 for her to get it over in Germany. And then on the 22nd on eBay, I sold this Hannah Anderson girl's dress. It was just so cute. And Hannah Anderson is such a good quality children's clothes. So I sold it for $15.99. It cost me 50 cents at the senior center in Cave Junction. And I picked it up in January of this year and listed it in March 5th of this year. And it sold on the 22nd. And then in Etsy, also Victoria, I sold this vintage straw wood barrel purse, which I had for a long time. Let's see. Yep, I had it. I picked it up in October 2010. So I had it for 10 years, at least 10 years before I listed it. I listed it in August of 2019. And it had one of the little pins was out of it, but it was really cute. So I sold it for $58. I paid $3.99 for it at the Goodwill in Central Point in a town here. And this purse actually went to New Zealand and they paid $45.60 for me to send it to New Zealand. And I think the reason is because they're probably a collector of these type of purses. I mean, yeah, they had to have been a collector. Anyway, and then on the 24th on Etsy, my Cameron D shop, where I sell collectibles, I sold these a set. I sold both of them. Bunny head air freshener covers. It's a little craft project where you take your little barrel air fresheners and make these little bunny covers for it. And since I had two of them, so I sold them as a set, so for $20. And it's something, folks can make and put in a craft fair kind of thing. I guess people still do craft fairs. I don't know, but it's one of those things you could make and do a craft fair project with and then sell them at a craft fair or make them and give them away. Anyway, they were 50 cents. So they are a quarter a piece. So it cost me 50 cents. I got these at the senior center over in Cave Junction on our way to the coast. And then on Poshmark on the 25th, I sold this Old Navy maxi color block dress for $16. And this was given to me by my daughter last fall. And I listed it just February 19th of this year. And then on eBay on the 28th, I sold this buyer beaded lavender dress. It was new with tags. Sold it for $28 and I had paid $6.99 for it in the boutique here in Ashland back when they first opened the stores when the COVID thing in May is when I picked it up, and then I listed it in June of last year. And it was a really pretty dress. I got a nice little love note on that, but it was a really pretty dress. I was just surprised it didn't sell sooner. And then on eBay, I sold this Helga tooled wedge sandals. Really cool with wooden kind of heels on them for $28. They cost me $5. And I picked these up at the Habitat for Humanity in Sisters, Oregon. in November of last year, and I listed in December of last year. So I actually listed sandals in the wintertime. But I do want to say, if you ever get to Sisters, Oregon, it is such an amazing little town. It's just one of those little western towns up in the mountains, just quaint. And I will tell you also, they have the best fudge I've ever had. There's a little store there, it's a boutique, but they have a little fudge shop inside. Best fudge I've ever had. So anyway, I got this at Humanitat for Humanity there in Sisters, Oregon. It was when we did our Eagle Crest resort trip, and we hiked a bunch of trails at the rock climbing Red Smith Rock in Oregon. I got videos of that up too on my Adventures in Oregon videos. Anyway, moving on. On the 27th, moving a day back again on Etsy, my Cameron D shop, I sold the squeaky baby toy mouse for $12. And he wanted it, after he bought it, he wanted it to go priority. And then I emailed him, and then it was the next day, and I just sent it first class because it went to New York. And he wanted it by the weekend. So I kind of, by the time I got emailed him and by the time he emailed me back, I thought it's just going to be easier just to send it out first class instead of waiting for his email back, get it out the door. He should get it. He did get it that Saturday. He didn't get it on Friday, but he did get it on a Saturday. Anyway, he paid $12 for it. I picked it up at an estate sale in Brookings on October of 2017, and I listed it. Couldn't have listed it in May of 2017. I don't know. Days are mixed up. But anyway, I may have got those two things mixed up. I paid way too much. I paid $3 for this darn squeaky toy from the 60s, this old vintage squeaky toy. But I asked the lady at the state, said, what do you want for this? And she said $3. And for some reason, I didn't feel like haggling because I would never do that today, pay $3 for it. 50 cents maybe. But anyway, that's in the past. So on the 29th, on my Etsy Oso Victoria shop, I sold this Miss Choice grunge blouse for $18. And I picked that up at the Humane Society in Brookings in January of this year, and then I listed it in January of this year. Paid 80 cents for it. So that was with my senior discount, so it was on their dollar rack. But I got it for 80 cents. Over on Poshmark, I sold these Converse Converse black denim dress for $25. It was given to me by my daughter. Let's see, last November, and I listed it. It was given to me in November of 2019, and I listed it September of last year. And then on Etsy, in my Cameron D shop, I sold another Easter spring tablecloth for $75. And I picked this up at Senior Center in Cave Junction for $1. And I don't have when I listed it, but I picked it up this year and I listed it this year. And then on Etsy, Osa Victoria, I sold these Ann Adams 60s poly dress, this Ann Adams 60s poly dress for polyester dress for $48. I paid $6.20 for it at the Goodwill in Brookings. These kind of type of polyester dresses seem to be selling pretty good. Must be the style people are looking for currently. And anyway, I got it at the Goodwill over in Brookings, and that's why I paid $6.20 for it, because it was at the Goodwill of October 2020, and I listed it in November of 2020. Anyway, it sold on the 31st of March for $48. Okay, two more. On eBay, I sold this Victoria's Secret Lavender Polka Dot Nightie. I really liked it. I'm surprised it took so long to sell. took 15 days to sell. Anyway, I sold it for $26.24. It cost me $1.50. Picked it up at Habitat for Humanity store in Sisters. They had a $2 rack, but then everything on their $2 or $3 rack, I don't know, whatever, that stuff was half off. So I listed it March 15th of this year and picked it up in November of last year. And then the last thing that sold was this Oshkosh Girls denim. Was this a skirt? Yeah, this little denim skirt for $16.95. And I paid $2 for it at the Regroup thrift shop, which I thought was a cancer shop in Bend back in October of 2020. And I listed it March 5th of 2021. So that took about 3 weeks to sell. Okay, and so anyway, that's everything that sold on in March 16th through the 31st. All, let me see, where am I at? 27 items. And let me see, let me break it down to 7 items on my Oso Victoria Etsy shop for $380. 3 items in my Etsy Cameron D shop for $77. 9 items in my Poshmark shop for $201. And in eBay, I sold 8 items for a total of $165.28. So once again, Etsy did really good for me. And Poshmark didn't do too bad for me in the last 2 weeks of March, and neither did eBay. So there you go. There's a sale. Hope you like watching that. I do have my 2 weeks of April sales coming up. As soon as I get around to getting those listed, I'm not even sure. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions about anything selling online or anything, just leave me a comment. I'd be happy to answer. All right, thanks. Bye.